In this demonstration, we're going to look at creating lookup zones. Now, the purpose of a lookup zone is really just to store records. We've got two different types. We've got reverse lookup zones, which store IP addresses against computer names, and we have forward lookup zones that contain computer names versus IP addresses. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to create a reverse lookup zone. So if we have a look, we don't currently have any. So if we right click at this point here, we'll create a new zone. It'll bring us into a wizard, so we'll select next. What we're going to do here is we're going to create this as a primary zone, so this is the one that will be read-writable. And what we'll also do as well is we'll just leave on the little tick box here that says store the zone in Active Directory. So we'll select next. Now what we're going to do at this point here, we're just going to specify how we're going to replicate the DNS. So we'll replicate to all DNS servers running domain controllers in this datum.com domain, and select next. Next thing to do here is specify, do we want IP version 4 or IP version 6? So we'll go IP version 4. And then what we'll do is we'll specify our network ID. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to specify 172.16. Then what we'll do is we'll select next. What we'll also do at this point here is we'll just go with the dynamic update, and we'll just leave the default of allow only secure dynamic updates, and select next. Then what we'll do, just quickly look through the summary and select finish. So this is now going to go away, and as we can see, it has now created my reverse lookup zone. So the next thing we'll do here is we'll just put some records into this zone for the server I'm currently on. So we'll do that through a command prompt. So we'll just launch up a command prompt. And all we're going to do here is through the command prompt, we're going to do an ipconfig/register DNS. So this is now going to go away. Just run registration. So as we can see here, it's just telling us that it is going to register the record. Any errors will be reported in about 15 minutes in Event Viewer. So what we'll do at this point here is we'll just return back to our DNS console, and we'll just do a refresh, and we can see we now have our reverse DNS record mapping IP address to computer name. Next thing we'll have a look at is actually creating a forward lookup zone. So I already have, if we have a look here on LonDC1, I've already got a datum.com. What I'd like to do is also create this zone as well on one of my other DNS servers. So we'll move over to the console of another DNS server I have running. So we're now sitting on LonServe1, so we're just going to create a forward lookup zone. So what we'll do here, right click, create new zone, and what we'll do here is on the new zone, we'll just click the next button. We'll create this as a primary zone. Notice we can't store this zone in Active Directory. This is not an Active Directory domain controller. So we'll select next. And what we want to do here is call this a datum.com. Now we've done that, we'll select next. Then what we're going to do, it's going to create a file. So we're happy with this file. That's not a problem at all there. So we'll select next. And then what we can do here is we're not going to store anything actually in dynamic updates. So we'll select next. And we'll select finish. Now the problem that we've got there is we now have two primary zones pointing to a datum.com. So one of the things we're going to do here is we'll now just delete this zone. And what we'll do instead is we'll create this as a secondary zone. So we're now going to point this at the primary DNS server. Similar sort of thing though through the wizard. So we'll select new zone. Select next. This time we'll go for a secondary zone. Select next. And what we'll do here, again, a datum.com. Select our next button. Question here it now asks though is what is the IP address of where we're going to do the replication from. I'm going to specify that IP address is 172.16.0.10, which is my Active Directory domain controller. That's fine. We'll select next. Then what we'll do is we'll select finish. So we've now created this as a secondary zone. And with this being Windows Server 2012, anything we can do in the GUI, we can also do through PowerShell. So what we'll do here is we'll create a zone through PowerShell. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to issue a command to create a lookup zone for Woodgrove Bank. And the command that we're going to issue is add-DNS server primary zone -name woodgrovebank.com -dynamic update will be secure, replication scope will be across the Active Directory domain. So this comes back reporting that everything's okay. Let's just go back to our DNS utility. Let's just do a refresh. And as we can see, we have woodgrovebank.com. And that's the end of this demonstration of creating forward and reverse lookup zones. Thank you.